as 2024 begins with a sense of purpose. In addition to the normal trips, this year we have a plan. That's the idea anyway. Where am I going? I'll be taking friends, family, basically anyone, strangers, anyone I can drag off the street. Conditions here today, tremendous. Well, the hint's in the title, and going back to New Year's Eve, I've started to recollect not what a resolution was, but a challenge or a pledge. So this year's adventure takes us on a journey through history and glorious landscapes, all in pursuit of trig points. I think this is a trig point. All because I couldn't think of a New Year's resolution. I was challenged by some friends, aka the Steel Lane Mafia WhatsApp group, to walk 50 trig points in Somerset in 2024. Most of Somerset is actually flooded at the moment. Might make it a bit challenging. But wait on a minute, what are trig points? Well, they're more than just concrete pillars. I mean, hundreds and thousands of them, 6,000 of them scattered across the UK. There's 112 trig points in Somerset alone. And one of them is offshore. By the Ordnance Survey, about 1935 to 1962, to aid the accurate mapping of Britain. Using trigonometry, hence trig, calculations could be made for the observed distances between each trig point. And for each trig point, there'll be 2 more trigs visible from that location, obviously using a pair of binoculars or a telescope or a theodolite. So I chase these seemingly random landmarks. Well, for starters, the hikes will often lead to some incredible views. The panoramas stretching endlessly, rolling hills, and maybe a glimpse of the coastline, although it does look like with the flooding, the coastline's got a bit nearer. Plus, there's the thrill of the hunt. Each trig point has a unique position, making it a bit of a mini treasure hunt. And they're not always that accessible, so there's a bit of a story. This is Glastonbury Tor, and it's windy. I'll just get my phone out a minute. What does it say? Oh, bit of bad news to start this process off. It's not actually a trig point. Bloody hell. The nearest trig point is actually there. Come up the wrong bloody hill. Although this is nice, you see, and that's the whole point of this trig bagging, if you like. I wouldn't have made this mistake if I wasn't doing the project in the first place. Specific rule details here for qualification of points for my trig bagging exercise. For a single trig bag, a walk must begin from a pub or a National Trust car park, clearly to introduce some kind of proper walk rather than me just parking up next to one and making the whole thing pointless. For multiple trig bagging, a minimum of 2, a walk can start from anywhere, or if you're on a mountain bike, you can go from anywhere. Seems reasonable. So a project like this deserves some scores. Let's have a look at the scoring criteria. The walk itself might even be through some nice villages. You might be able to see some historical locations along the way. Might want to visit some shops. So a walk might just be walking in the countryside and getting lost, actually. So the next criteria is viewpoint. And being that many of the trig points are on top of hills, I'm expecting some spectacular views. And looking at Somerset from a very different and unexpected perspective, as long as the weather isn't too shit. Next criteria, discovery index. Now, it seems that most of the trigs are actually quite easy to find. However, I think there'll be some occasions where it'll be a challenge. And no doubt, I'll probably have to cross farmers' fields, different properties, bit of scrambling here and there, but the main objective is that I'll be putting my marker on there, taking a picture of the trig point, just for proof. And at least then I can say, I've teabagged up there. Well, I better say trig bagged, I'll cut that. Yeah, and finally, picnicability. Does the trig point offer a nice place to have a picnic? Got me crisps. If I'm in the van, I've always got refreshments. Oh, that's almost like a champagne. It's either that or vodka. I mean, if I'm not in the van, we'll be drinking water. Picnicability. Bet you've never had that one. But trig points are more than just historical markers. You know, they're meeting points for like-minded people and adventurers, a community of trig baggers, not tea baggers, united by a shared passion of exploration and discovery. That's what it's all about. Or just by someone who had a lot to drink on New Year's Eve. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's see where the journey takes us in 2024. So I'm sure this series of videos will be an inspiration for 2024 and almost trigger you into action. But more likely, trigger you into a deep sleep. Can't have everything. Forward.